Monday, 27th of July 2015. Paper highlights. First, let's look at the paper highlights from Daily Mirror. IGP praises police for enforcing election laws. In the run-up to the 2015 general elections, IGP N.K. Ilangakun yesterday praised police officers countrywide for conducting their duties without bias and enforcing election laws. Another highlight from Daily Mirror. MR sends letters of demand to Mangala Ranjan Anura. On the instructions of ex-President Mahinda Rajapaksa, his lawyers had sent letters of demand to 5 people, including Ministers Mangala Samaravira, Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayaka and JVP leader Anurakumar Disanayaka for defaming Mr. Rajapaksa. The lawyers told a news conference at the opposition leader's office that Sunil Perera of Gypsies and former UNP MP Nalin Bandara had also been sent the letters of demand. Another highlight from Daily Mirror. President was target of white van. Ministers. Minister MKDS Gunawardhan has said the target of the white van and the 3 army personnel in civis and armed with a pistol taken into custody at Miruhana last week had targeted President Maithripala Sirisena. Minister Gunawardhan told an election propaganda rally at Dambulla that the white van had re-emerged at a time when Sri Lanka had begun to experience an environment of freedom after the new government took office in January this year. Another highlight from Daily Mirror. TNA calls for federalism. The Tamil National Alliance in its manifesto has renewed its call for the right to self-determination, the re-merger of the northern and eastern provinces and devolution of power over various subjects including land and law and order within a federal framework. However, the party says it should be done within a united and undivided Sri Lanka. More highlights from Daily Mirror. TNA's manifesto, a threat to Sri Lanka's sovereignty. Tissa. United Citizens Front leader Tissa Athanayaka said yesterday the Tamil National Alliance manifesto is a threat to the country's sovereignty because it calls for the pardoning of the LTTE. Another highlight from Daily Mirror. Hema Premadasa will campaign for Champika. Former First Lady Hema Premadasa yesterday extended support to Minister Pathali Champika Ranawaka for his Colombo district campaign for the August 17th general election. A media release from his office said President Ranasinghe Premadasa's widow joined Minister Ranawaka at the Apegama complex in Battaramulla, where the minister explained his policies when launching his propaganda campaign. The late President Premadasa's son Sajith is contesting from the Hambantota district under the UNP as its district group leader. Now let's move to the paper highlights from Ceylon today. President orders STF security for NDDCB chief. Chairman of the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board, Dr. Chamira Nilanga Samarasinghe, will be provided with an STF security contingent by order of President Maithripala Sirisena. Minister of Justice Vijayadasa Rajapaksa said there were media reports that Samarasinghe is facing death threats after revealing details of a number of politicians and state officials engaged in a drug trade. After hearing about the threats faced by Dr. Samarasinghe, President immediately ordered STF protection to Samarasinghe, Rajapaksa said. Meanwhile, Samarasinghe said that he has informed President Sirisena last week of the threats he faced. Another highlight from Ceylon today. Make JVP the decisive factor till win. Janata Vimukti Peramuna yesterday said that the government is likely to be a coalition and requested the public to make the JVP the decisive factor. Another highlight from Ceylon today. Oral cancer is preventable. On average, 3 people die per day in Sri Lanka due to oral cancer, which is mostly caused by tobacco and ericanut. Founder of the Center for Research in Oral Cancer, Professor W.M. Tilakaratna said. Another highlight from Ceylon today. SLFP moved to expel famous 5, Susil. Minister MKDS Gunawardhan said members of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party cannot be removed by the whims of others. Speaking to Ceylon today, the minister said that he knew that there is a rumor about expulsion from the SLFP membership of 5 members who will be contesting from the United National Front. Now let's move to the paper highlights from Daily News. Underworld kingpin shot dead in Tangalla. 2 companions injured were on their way back after reporting to police. A top underworld figure, Jayavira Patabendige Indica Nilusha Elias, was killed by an unidentified group at Pallikuda Junction in Tangalla while he was travelling in a 3-wheeler with 2 other gangsters yesterday around 9:45 am. Police media spokesman ASP Ruwan Gunasekara said the 3 gangsters arrested earlier in connection with the murder had been granted bail last month and was due to report to Tangalla police yesterday. Another highlight from Daily News. MR has given new interpretation to the word thief. 25 UPFA candidates have allegedly engaged in drug peddling, Justice Minister Vijayadasa Rajapaksa said. The minister, addressing a press conference at Sirikotha yesterday, said ex-President Mahinda Rajapaksa had given a new interpretation to the word thief by saying it means the best statesman, Hondama Rajya Nayakaya, adding that Rajapaksa was indirectly asking people to vote for the thieves. Another highlight from Daily News. Prime Minister says he didn't crave for power like MR. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said he didn't crave for power like Mahinda Rajapaksa. Once I have done my job entrusted to me by the people, I will retire from politics, he said, addressing a rally in Akurana on Saturday. The Prime Minister made these remarks in response to the introduction by the announcer that once the UNP wins the forthcoming election, Wickremesinghe would be the Prime Minister during the entire period under UNP reign. Another highlight from Daily News. Threats to Venerable Gnanasara from ISIS. Bodubala Sena General Secretary Venerable Galagoda Atta Gnanasara Thera is being threatened by ISIS terrorists through Facebook, BBS Executive Director Dilantha Vitana said. More highlights from Daily News. TNA says 13A flawed in manifesto. The Tamil National Alliance, while launching its election manifesto in Jaffna on Saturday, said the 13th Amendment to the Constitution was flawed on the grounds that power was concentrated at the centre and its agent, the governor. Another highlight from Daily News. Sisira Mendis, Chief of National Intelligence. Retired DIG Sisira Mendis has been appointed as the Chief of National Intelligence. Mendis, an officer who is vastly experienced in the police service, was the head of the Police Narcotics Bureau and the director of the CI. He will assume duties on July 28th. Another highlight from Daily News. Mirihana white van came for President, MKDS. The white van, in which 3 army personnel were travelling with a pistol, came for President Maithripala Sirisena. United National Front nationalist candidate MKDS Gunawardena said, "We created a country that was free from white vans. We ensured freedom and democracy in the country. Unfortunately, a white van resurfaced again from Mirihana, where former President Mahinda Rajapaksa and former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa are resident," Gunawardena said, addressing an election meeting in Dambulla. We brought you the paper highlights from today's newspapers, and we will bring you more tomorrow.